Picture this. A monkey, a giraffe, and a fish are all standing in an open field next to a tree. Someone in front of them is telling them that in order to be successful, you must climb that tree. The monkey thinks to himself, no problem. I've been climbing trees my whole life. I got this. The giraffe thinks to himself, well, I don't know how to climb a tree, but my long neck can reach the top of the tree, and isn't that the goal in the first place? The fish thinks to himself, I've never even heard of a tree. I don't know what a tree is, but he can boast of swimming the river next to the tree in 2 minutes flat. This scenario has been summed up into a quote perfectly. If you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it will go its whole life thinking that it's an idiot. This tree scenario represents the classic definition of success. You go to college, you get a degree, you find a career pertaining to that degree, and slowly work your way up the ladder until finally you retire at the top. But what about the giraffe and the fish? Just because their methods of getting up the tree are less conventional, does that make them any less valid? Think about if the giraffe and the fish were judged not by how they got up the tree, but what they did once they got there. Think about all of the things that they would be motivated to achieve. Think about all of the potential for innovation that they would be able to have. Part of this idea of potential for innovation is embracing failure. Now, my generation, the millennials, we are not the first people to come up with this. Vincent van Gogh only sold one painting in his entire lifetime, and that was to his brother. Steve Jobs got fired from the company that he helped create. And Thomas Edison is often credited with coming up with 1,000 ways on how not to make a light bulb. The millennials, although we are not the first people to come up with this idea of embracing failure, more and more of us are starting to do this every day. More and more of us are starting to delve into the unknown, facing that fear of what if we might fail, in order to create something that millions of people could use to find love and to find happiness. Another thing that millennials, another really good quality that we have started to bring to the table is this idea of social entrepreneurship. And William Deresiewicz defines social entrepreneurship as companies that try to make money responsibly and then give it all away. You guys might be familiar with some companies that have already started doing this, like Lauren Bush Lauren with her bag company Feed, or the very popular shoes company Toms with Blake Mycoskie. But someone who I really think emulates and defines this idea not only of just social entrepreneurship, but of embracing failure and potential for innovation is Jasmine Lawrence. Now, Jasmine Lawrence, when she was 11, was frustrated by the lack of all-natural hair care products that were available to her. So she decided to make her own. Without prompting from a teacher or from an adult or from her parents, she worked on this product for a few years until she finally created something that worked. And when she did, she wanted to share it with the rest of the world. So she started her own business at 13 years old. When she went to college, instead of pursuing a degree in a field that she already knew she was competent in, maybe in health and beauty or in business, she decided to go into robotics and computer science, and now works for the famous company Xbox while still maintaining her beauty products company Eden Body Works. Young adults like Jasmine are being judged by this classic definition of success when their goals don't even have the tree in mind. They're swimming right past the tree into the ocean. But this also isn't to diminish the tree climbers either, because their methods of becoming successful have worked for centuries past. But what will happen if we continue to measure people by this sole definition of success? When I was little, my mom always taught me that people were intelligent in different ways, and there were different kinds of intelligence that people could have. But I didn't understand this because when I was little, I grew up in a family of giraffes. And while they were coming up with the most efficient and effective and intelligent way to get up that tree, it sounded to me like they were speaking a different language. But I now realize that while they were trying to figure out how to go up the tree, I was swimming right past the tree and into the ocean. And I now realize that I am not a giraffe, but I am a fish. And in the beginning, I introduced you a quote that said, "If you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it will go its whole life thinking that it's an idiot." But I didn't show you the first and the most important part of this quote. Everyone is a genius. Now, you might swim across oceans, or you might move mountains. You might paint a masterpiece, or you could cure cancer. So my question to you is, what will be your success? Thank you.